All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a... I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay. Go.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.
Fireside Chats.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, live with you on a Monday. Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito, coming at you live from San Diego, Chula Vista, California, from the Burrito Lounge. Happy Pride Month to everybody that is celebrating any part of the LGBTQ plus community, as well as allies. Hope you got your little ally T-shirt from Walmart. Everybody was rocking, and as we are in the middle of Pride Month, I didn't want to get through this month without doing a Pride-centric pod with one of our key contributors, my official podcast co-host, who is busy saving the world one university class at a time, I guess, making herself all smart for the future of this universe and whatnot. She is the star of our film Slapworthy, Miss Sofia Carrillo. So let's get right into it. What is up, Sophia?
Hello. How you doing?
Hey,
Happy
happy-
Pride Month.
Happy Pride. Yeah, so let's jump right into it. You as my co-host and as an openly bisexual person in this universe, can we just talk a little bit about your path to what I consider somebody who lives a very open and truthful life, genuine self, so to speak. If you could go back to the time when you initially realized your sexuality and when you came out till now, how do you see the progress for, obviously there's the gay community, there's the lesbian community, there's the transgender, then there's the bisexual community who sometimes gets shit on a little bit.
Right.
But you want to just expand on that a little bit in terms of how what the month means to you, etc.
Man, starting off with a loaded
Yeah.
question, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so the exact question is what it means to me. Well, it's just I think I'm a little jaded because I have been out of the closet for a while. I think that a lot of like later in life lesbians and people that have been out for a while, they kind of see the month as more of a consumerist thing, and it's kind of like, oh, it's annoying. But at the same time, you do look back to the history and you're like, we need to celebrate all this because it wasn't an easy road. I realized my sexuality since I was born, honestly. as far as I can remember, I have always known that I liked guys and girls, and I just thought that was normal. I was like, oh, cool.
Show off.
Yeah. I did. I was like, oh, that's everyone, right? And then society, really pushed the whole narrative of no, it's a boy and a girl, you're supposed to like guys. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess. So it was a lot of, um internalized homophobia that happened. And then also you can talk about being mixed, being a Latina alongside bisexual, and then all of that is a whole thing, but we don't have the time for all that. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think it's necessary to take some time, a month or the whole year, to celebrate any struggle, whether that be ethnic wise or sexuality, or yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, as somebody who grew up in New York and learned, I mean, obviously, I was in the theater drama community in
Hmm.
New York for a long time. So I was exposed to lots of sexuality, a lot of stuff. We used to spend, tons and tons of time in the village,
Hmm.
and learned about Stonewall and learned about the original riots and sort of what happened in New York. And then you start looking at the history and then the AIDS epidemic and all this stuff and the
Right.
struggles for the gay community. And then, it basically started there and then it began to build up and build up, with more people, more letters, so to speak, joining sort of the movement to where it can seem like it's a bit of there is a bit of a consumerism to it.
Mm.
There's also a term that I learned called performative allyship,
Allyship.
which is something that I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing when I created the 2 AM Burrito Pride logo,
Hmm.
because I know that a lot of companies, a lot of corporations are
Hmm.
getting backlash because they put up the logo, they put up a flag, they do their 30-day woke, Pride Month logo,
Hmm.
and then you find out that they're donating like $500,000 a month to like Republicans, and they
Yeah.
have people who are outspoken and stuff like that. So when I said, because I saw that people were changing their logos, I was like, oh, maybe Twin Burrito should do that. And
Yeah.
I was like, and I played around with it for a little bit, and I sent it to you because I was
Hmm.
like, let me send it to a couple of people that I know just to make sure that it's not coming off as disingenuous. Because I
Hmm.
feel like we're inclusive. We have people of all types that are involved with us, and I feel like we won the diversity award and stuff like that. So I feel like we have a little bit to stand on in terms of not being trying not to cause harm, right? I'm not
Hmm.
sure that I would say that we are 100% woke and that we're taking all the steps needed to be able to be a fully inclusive. But I felt that at least that we could consider ourselves an ally, and that wasn't coming off as as that term that I discovered in one of my,
Performative.
right.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about companies that are doing that though?
Oh man, it's hard because I hate that. Like I hate when companies just kind of like want to, use a cause to make profit off of it. And then also fund all of these things that are anti said cause. So I hate that. Um and but then also as a consumer it's so hard because then like, you have to go a lot of steps forward, and then where does it stop? I feel like corporations sometimes are not individualized. Like for example with you, 2 a.m. burrito is something that is very individualized to you, to your friend group, to all of us, right? It's like a
Mhm.
team of people, and we're all very diverse, and we all support each other. And so it's kind of a no-brainer that you that you're not a performative ally, because you actually take the steps to like, care for and move forward with all of these voices that are LGBT and stuff like that. But I feel like, let's say with Oreo or fucking, I don't know. And
The Chick-fil-A one I thought was out of line.
Chick-fil-A is a very straightforward one. It's very simple.
No, they
Very
did.
legit.
They didn't do one, but I'm saying like if Chick-fil-A got done
If
one,
they
that would have
did,
been like,
yeah, no questions about it. That's a very straightforward one. But like Walmart, for example, it's like they're the devil. But then
right.
also, sometimes I'm broke and I need to go, just as a lower middle class person, I sometimes need to go buy stuff from Walmart because it's cheap. And unfortunately, we've been put into this socioeconomic cycle where we can only afford things that are made by corporations that want to destroy us. And so it's a weird cycle. And when it comes to something something as important as like pride, I do get a little annoyed because that's more a virtual signaling, right? Like it's not a necessary thing that you have to do. I'm not buying shampoo from Walmart because I need to shower. It's you're going out of your way to signal um, that you are for this community, but also going against it. So part of me hates it. Playing devil's advocate, however, I have had this conversation with a couple people in the community, and they because someone brought it up. They were like, where does it stop? Because also, mind you, 5, 10, 20 years ago, no one would have even admitted to being like gay or pro
You know,
LGBT.
you know who did that?
Huh. Who?
Bernie Sanders.
It was Bernie. It was fucking Bernie. He did
You got
everything. He
pictures
was
of
God.
Bernie in Pride in Vermont, 1989.
Ah, dude, that's so crazy. I fucking love Bernie. Yeah, I know. But see, like no one was doing that, standing up for us or anything. So in a sense, devil's advocate, right? Does it make me happy that this whole month everything is rainbow and the Republicans are cringing? Yes, that's awesome. I love that. So it's weird because even though we're getting pandered to, essentially, does that at all move forward the cause of just being sort of publicized and like represented in a sense? I don't know. So it's weird. I don't like corporate America to get involved, but
Yeah.
at the same time, does it help at all? The exposure, the fact that everyone is like super pro
Does it
gay. I don't know. What do you think?
does it matter to you that probably in some of these corporations, this is
Mhm.
probably coming from lower level young either interns or people that are part of like their marketing and social media teams that are like, hey, we should probably do something for Pride Month. Do you feel that? And then the corporations are like, this could bring us some of that gay money that we've been
Oh
looking
yeah,
for.
that's sweet, sweet gay money.
That
Yeah,
sweet, sweet lesbian dollar bills.
who doesn't love those?
Right. So I mean, I guess it's a catch. You want to see you like to see the flags everywhere. You like to see
Hmm.
people, it being put in people's faces, so to speak, to
Yeah.
spark more conversation, spark more change, hopefully. But you do sort of get that dirty feeling that it's
Hmm.
a little bit performative, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was trying to say. You said it much better than I could. Yeah. No, it's a catch-22. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, I mean,
I don't
I
know.
mean,
And,
I don't know.
and there's people that I know that are on both sides of like fucking hate it. Let's not be consumers. And then there's people that are like, but pride and yay, rainbows. And it's like, I don't know. You guys, I don't have the answer. We live in a terrible, terrible country.
I mean, also when I first came to San Diego, and then I used to go to the Pride parades in New
Mhm.
York and in the Village and stuff like that.
So
But
jealous.
when I
Uh-huh.
came to San Diego, when I first came out, it was like Pride was like, yeah, there's this general area and there's going to be some priding going on, and you can just
Mhm.
sort of show up and kind of walk around and have some fun. Now, over the last 5 years or so, it's you need a ticket, you need to spend money, you need wristbands, you need a plan. It's become like like Gaychella, right?
Gaychella, yeah. Well, mind you, I mean, um, it's the parade is free. But then yeah, they have like the music festival and they have like She Fest and they have like the block party and it's like a two week thing event and most of them charge, some of them don't. But like yeah, the Pride parade that's always stayed free. So in defense of San Diego, I don't know.
in defense of San Diego. And
Yeah.
do you feel like that, given everything that's happening, barely now getting into like a post-COVID California,
Mhm.
that it's still a good idea that you're like trying to jump into as many of these events as possible, or how you handling that the need for
Mhm.
to throw
Um,
down?
well, so I feel like San Diego's handling it for me because we're not the music festival's not happening this year.
Okay.
The which one was it? The run, the 5K run or something is like virtual, like you can everyone's doing it on their own. I think She Fest is still happening. I mean, yeah, there's not a lot going on for Pride this year. As far as how I'm handling it, I don't like huge crowds. I don't want to be shoulder to shoulder with people at the moment, but I feel like I'm vaccinated, so if I'm around people with a mask, I don't know. It's just it's gray area, you know? How do you
Um,
feel?
I feel like wait, Kurt says I have a
You
few
do.
gay friends that are Republicans.
Yep,
I
those
feel
exist.
like I feel like yeah, log cabin Republicans, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I'm still sort of trying to figure out how I feel about Comic Con in November during Thanksgiving.
Is it happening?
Yeah, they're trying to have a small event in
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
oh.
Uh, okay, we have a Dark Sage says he has an interesting question for this panel, but I'm afraid he
Okay.
might be trolling. But I will be open to at least seeing what the question is
I know.
as we move on. um, but yeah, no, I obviously I since you are a close friend and you're just sort of genuine in how you move about the world. So I always found it refreshing that you were so openly out as bi. And then
Mhm.
there's obviously the added there's the LGBTQ plus, and then inside of that, the bi part often gets looked down upon as
Mhm.
like pick a side, as
Yeah.
and like the whole thing is like if you're a bi person, a bi woman, and you're
Mhm.
dating a man, they might think, oh well, she's come back. Or
Right. Mhm.
again, if you're a bi man and you're dating primarily women, they're like, it's a spectrum. It's like people
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
um all right, hold on. All right, this seems like a legit question. All
Okay.
right,
Oh, is
a
it?
movie is
Okay.
being made about Theodore Roosevelt, who's a very conservative figure in America history. I'm worried a movie about his life would further divide the nation, but he also was someone who lived fast and light and did many great things as well. I'm curious what this panel
Mhm.
thinks with him about should could cover Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy
True.
Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt. Okay.
Well, what is it controversial about him that I guess he killed a bear? Is that why they called him Teddy? He killed a bear. Is that things what happened? I would
Me
have to know
Googling what
more
the fuck
about
Theodore
like
Roosevelt.
I would have to know more about what the controversial aspects of Teddy Roosevelt's life are to be.
Mhm.
I know that was it Robin Williams that played him in the Night at the Museum
Yeah,
movies?
it was. It was. Yeah, and he played him under a very good light, right? But I mean,
Yeah, he played him as a museum figure. I think, yeah,
mhm.
he was a Rough Rider. He was a hunter. He was also an
Mhm.
imperialist. He did a lot of stuff. He established a lot of things. He was a man of his time, probably. And
Yeah,
anybody who was a figure in that time frame was probably going to be.
problematic
ti-
nowadays by
Yeah,
today's standards.
if you judge
Yeah.
them by 2021 standards, it's going to be problematic. So I guess it would
Mhm.
have to honestly, it would have to be who's adapting the story, who's writing the
Right.
script, and what the director is handling it. But thanks for your question, Dark Sage.
Yeah.
Um,
I completely agree. I think that I mean it happens all the time. Problematic figures do get their own films and some are under better lights than others, right? But um as far as who gets a right to make a film or about who, I mean we do films about murders, you know?
right.
So it depends how
True
they
Murder is
handle
one of the
it.
most popular genres
Yeah,
out right
the
now.
Zodiac or whatever. There's just about everything. So I think everyone has a right to be made a film out of, essentially.
Yeah, yeah,
But would it be,
yeah.
I don't know, how under what light? I mean, that all depends. And then,
Yeah, I think
you
it
get
just
to
depends on
critique it
how the story's
afterwards.
told, who's
Mhm.
who's behind it. Like if you're telling
What
me
they're
Quentin,
focusing about. I
if
don't
you're telling
know.
me Quentin Tarantino's making a Teddy Roosevelt film, or then I'd be like,
Mhm.
well, who's going to do that?
Yeah.
But that does give us a little bit of a hint of something that we will be talking about later during our bracket bit. I'm not going
Bracket.
to tell you exactly what it is, but it will
Oh,
include
shit.
some gay icons throughout history. Um,
Ooh.
but
Dang, what a shame if I don't know them. That would be terrible.
but I think we got cut off in terms of like the bi discussion. So
Mhm.
so I guess in the position of somebody who is bisexual in the greater spectrum of the
Yes.
movement, there's do you feel a bit ostracized by parts of the movement? Do you feel a
Mhm.
general acceptance, or is it mostly people from the outside looking in that want to judge you or put you in a particular sort of lane when it comes to sexuality?
Um, yeah. So short answer, yes. I feel like I actually wrote a paper about it in one of my classes. And what I did a lot of self-reflecting on was the fact that I'm a middle child, so there's that. And then when it comes to also my ethnicity, I'm Mexicana, so I'm Mexican American, and I never felt like I had a place. I never felt like I was fully Mexican. You get bullied by your Mexican family, like oh gringa, like pocha, whatever, and then you get bullied by Americans because you're Mexican. You're not American. You're not white. And it was a similar feeling with bisexuality because here I am like being like, "Oh my god, I'm like half gay. This is great. Awesome. Hi community." And then it's also like, "Well, you're not fully. Like you're technically you can be with a guy and so like you're not actually like gay. And I have gotten some lesbians that are pretty like turned off by that thing and I don't know if it's because, this whole
Like they don't,
society it's patriarchal and so, just the fact
they
that I
only
even huh?
they only date gold star lesbians.
Yeah, yeah, and then there's a term gold star lesbian, which is kind of like akin to the purity culture, right? It's like, oh, you're pure if you're, or you deserve a gold star if you did this, which is like, I disagree with that. Like, sexuality is fluid. Y'all need to calm down. But yeah, as far as personal experience, I don't. I mean, I've gone a pretty like nice side of the community. Can't say the same about other bisexuals that I've spoken to and that I've gotten to know, especially male bisexuals. I feel like
Mm.
man, their struggle is hard because girls were allowed to experiment, even straight girls. If you want to make out with a girl, it's like, oh, hot. And it's been like that for a while. I can remember I kissed a girl and I liked it with Katy Perry days. I feel like I was in high school at that time. And yeah, with men, it's like you kiss a guy, you're gay. So
Right.
I do think, huh?
The old Carlos Mencia bit, which
Yeah.
was he had a song on his thing which said, "If you think you might be gay, then you're gay," which seemed like funny at the time, but then it's like, what do you mean?
Well,
People can explore and just ask
sexuality
themselves
is
this
a
question.
spectrum. You can
Yeah.
be, Kinsey scale 2, Kinsey scale 5. You don't have to be a 6 or a 0. Calm down, Carlos Mencia.
What is that? What are you talking? What is this Kinsey
Kinsey
scale you're
scale?
talking?
Okay, so the
Mm.
Kinsey scale was made by Dr. Alfred Kinsey in like I don't fucking know, the 50s or something. And he 60s? I don't know. Anyway, it's this basically theory about a sexuality spectrum that goes from 0 to 6. And if you're 0, you're completely heterosexual. Do not even you think that you think sex with the same sex is like disgusting. Like ew, I could never
Mm.
imagine. A 1, maybe I'll kiss, for you, maybe I'll kiss a dude. I don't know,
Mm.
whatever. If I'm drunk. 2
Mm.
is like, okay, maybe I like a little some. Maybe
Mm.
I'm a little
Maybe I'll
little
let
guy.
somebody from the same sex do something to
Do
me.
something to me. Yeah, maybe I'll do a
Yeah.
little something, but maybe not too personal, whatever. Those
Right.
are those people that are like very
Hmm.
exploratory.
Hmm.
3 is like a hard, almost 50-50, like a hard, like I love guys, I love girls. I'm a 3. Hi. Yeah, and
I'm ready to
then
party.
then it goes the same but backwards. So a 6 is like a full gay man who would never even touch a woman. Like that's boobies ill, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's why I'm like, it's a spectrum. Calm down, people.
No,
But
I mean
yeah,
that's an interesting way to put it.
yeah.
Yeah, it takes all kinds. Like I said, like I had we had a conversation the other day with Julian from the Naciona, and he felt part of it was really informative. But I was telling you earlier, I kind of felt afterwards and during it like I wasn't doing enough for my
Hmm.
culture and for like my people because this dude is like, hey, we're expanding the voices of the underheard, and he's all about colonialism, transformatism, and all this other stuff. And I was like, man, I just want to make people laugh and do my podcast and make movies. And
Yeah.
it was like it takes all kinds. It takes the intellectuals, it takes the comedians, it takes the people, it
Hmm.
takes a lot of people. Interesting scale.
Interesting scale.
This is the first time that I've heard about it.
Really? Oh, I'm so happy. Well,
Yeah,
sex
so
education is something I enjoy a lot, so I'm glad I could teach somebody something.
that whole
There's a
college education that you have going on
que
is
me sirva de algo, por lo
yeah,
menos.
yeah, something's going on. So performative allyship in the terms of corporations and stuff like that is something that you have to deal with. You have to deal with
Mhm.
the different spectrums and who you are and being accepted even within your own community. And like I said, the whole bisexual thing also brings the added layer of that. But even so, um, it's getting. I guess if we because we're going to talk about a little bit about it in the heights. You can make
Mhm.
one of the things that I did when I talked about in the heights is that it's a good that we're getting to the point in Latino representation where we
Mhm.
can have this conversation about being represented enough because the conversation wasn't happening before because we didn't have the shows, movies, TV shows for there.
Nothing. Yeah, to debate
So it's almost a good sign that these fights within the LGBTQ plus community are happening because
them.
because before nothing was happening. You had Martina Navratilova and that was it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then Ellen DeGeneres, and then
Ellen.
Billie Jean
Yeah.
King, and then all these other icons, etc. But even they, at this point, sometimes get cannibalized by the movement, right?
Yeah.
Because Martina Navratilova, who was probably one of the greatest athletes of all time, happens to be a woman and a lesbian. She got into trouble because she got into the transgender issue
Mhm.
and how it affects the sports, which I think is the murkiest of the areas for people.
Right.
And then she gets cannibalized by more modern day lesbians and people in the community who weren't there when she was
Mhm.
really struggling to gain acceptance as a lesbian woman.
Mhm.
So, and then Ellen, who was the first sort of, she
Yeah.
was, she came out on TV show
On
in front
national
of like
television
40
for the
million
first time, I
people,
think?
for like 40 million people.
Mhm.
And then she sits in a football stadium with George Bush, and people are like, "Oh, you're no longer an ally," and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So, how do you feel about like these people not necessarily getting a pass with the more modernized part of the movement, and sort of, I don't know, is it forgetting your past? Is it
Mhm.
some of these people that don't really know them and are just like, or do you feel that it's okay that listen, if you're not with the most modern outlook about what this movement is, you need to get the hell out of the way?
Mhm. I mean, you know me. I'm more in the middle of everything. I don't
Right.
like to overgeneralize and then cancel people. I feel like when people don't I used to be a lot more angry and I used to be a lot more like, "Ooh, you fucked up. Haha, you're
Mm,
canceled." Like, but there needs to be a road to redemption. Um for everyone, and I don't think anyone is below that. I think that if you fucked up and you know you fucked up and you admit it and you want to be better, by all means. So I don't like the people that see something bad and is like, "You're terrible. You should die and not be here and you're no longer part of the community." Like, "Yeah, okay. All right. No, calm down." Um but I'm also not going to invalidate their feelings and say that they're not justified to feel some type of way that Ellen, someone who's gay, is hanging out with George Bush, who committed like genocide, essentially, like someone who has done terrible, terrible things. It is, so I'm not gonna invalidate those feelings, especially when it gets into political stuff. It's like, you know, I know I have some people that I'm like, they're on my shit list because I don't like the shit they've
mm.
done. And I'm not also going out of my way to like cause any more hate or bring any more hate to this world. So I'm kind of a softie in that sense.
Well,
Um,
you had somebody, because you're one of the biggest Harry Potter fans that I
yeah.
know, and you had to sort of deal with how, I even forget her name. What's her face? Uh,
Oh,
mm,
fucking J.K. Rowling. Yeah.
yeah, J.K. Rowling. I was like,
Problematic
yeah,
as hell.
not J.K. Simmons, but J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Um, how she is basically
Transphobic. She is
a
she
ter-
is
a
wow.
terp, a terp,
She's
but
a turf. Yeah, turf.
turf,
Yeah.
but she's doing it under the guise that she's trying to protect women's rights, or she or
Feminism. Mhm.
but that's very similar to the Martina Navratilova take in
Yeah.
terms of like their stance that if you start changing all these things, then you're essentially in trying to make the term female women more inclusive and say yes,
Mhm.
transgender women are women as well. That you're sort of diminishing what it means to be a woman or the protections to women, right? I guess
Mhm.
that's what they're trying to hang. That's the hill that they're sort of willing to die on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But then you look into her takes, into her writing, into how she creates some of her characters, and then you start finding all these other little things, and
Other
then you're
little
like,
things like
oh,
the anti-Semitism and the bank and the long noses, and then you're like, "Oh,
like
okay.
one Asian character, no Latino characters. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, there's
did you ever get to the
lot.
point where you're like, why did I ever like this, or how did you deal with one of your heroes being, I don't know, just not canceled, but not exactly who you thought they were?
Oh god, no. No, I never struggled because it's a wonderful, wonderful book. It's like it's amazing. I still love it. I still love it. I think that I think if anything, it made me believe more in death of the author. You can write something, you can make something, but once it's out in the world, it's open to interpretation. And I did that long before, not long, but before she got canceled essentially, because she came out with the Harry Potter's Curse and the Cursed Child play, and that was trash. That
Mhm.
was trash writing, trash everything. That does not exist in my book. And, she put her name on it and she stood by it, and I did not. So I think you're allowed to criticize, which will, again, will lead me to what I think about In the Heights, but I think you're allowed to love something and then also criticize the people that make it, and also criticize its flaws. There's a lot of things in the book that I don't necessarily enjoy, but for the most part it's a great story, and that doesn't really change it.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I think the whole fan the whole fan community had to do a lot of grappling with that and how we felt, because yeah, it doesn't take away the positive that it put out.
Um, and talking about In the Heights, because when I was
Mhm.
talking about it a few times, what I said was, imagine making a movie about San Diego, and with
Mhm.
with Mexican Americans, Filipinos, black, white, whatever, which are the major uh sort of cultures that are in San Diego. You have large
Right.
Filipino culture, large white culture, military,
Mhm.
Mexican, African American, and forgetting to, and then or making a movie in San Diego about Mexicans and then ignoring Mexicans that lived in the border or that were from Tijuana,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's what not focusing or not showcasing Afro Latinos that lived in Washington's Heights meant to me, because
Mhm.
like Chris Rock said about Los Angeles, you have to go out of your way not to hire Mexicans in Los Angeles
Mhm.
because they're literally everywhere. So if you need just a job in a studio that can be done by anybody, you have to go out of your way not to hire a Mexican candidate or person for it.
Mhm.
So that's how I would equate the population of the Afro Latino population of Washington Heights to how it was represented in the film, which is there is no way not one of those main characters wouldn't have been completely Afro Latino.
Mhm.
And then I think since they had the poster, they had the Benny character who was African American. I
Mhm.
think they felt that gave the color, that gave the poster
That was
enough of it, right?
Yeah.
The other thing that they did is they removed the storyline about uh Mina's, I think it was Nina or Mina, whatever her name is, his father, the guy who Jimmy
Mhm.
Smits, who owned the cab stand. Um, in the
Be
play, the original play, he was racist against Benny and didn't
Mhm.
want his daughter to date her. But they eliminated that, right?
Mhm.
So they eliminated the part of the film that was sort of self-effacing and inward looking and saying, okay, there's this racism within our community that we have to address. So they took out that storyline. So my question was, if they were going to take out that storyline about it, then why not fully just make Benny Dominican, like Afro Latino, like dark Dominican? And I
Mhm.
think that would have probably been at least enough to satiate the masses in terms of
I
being
don't
some
think so.
representation
You
of a
think so?
major character. I think so, because it was one of the
Hmm.
two major love stories, and they had the one girl that jumped into the DMs with people, and the lightest skin one, the
Was it
part you would
Melissa
have played.
Herrera? Oh my
Yeah, yeah.
gosh, she did?
Yeah,
Problematic,
she went
girl.
into people's
Giving
DMs and was
Mexicans
like,
bad name, Melissa.
she's like, oh, you weren't there for the casting. There was black people
I heard
there,
that. I
and
saw, yeah, I did a lot of research. I did a
I'm
lot of
like,
research for this. Yeah.
but so I think the two major relationships
Mhm.
were, if they could have just made Benny a completely Latino, like I think that would have probably been. And I don't know if I want to say the term enough, but possibly enough that people wouldn't have had the backlash of only
Mhm.
the Afro Latinos being the ones that you saw in the
Race.
barbershop, in the restaurants, in the background. And one of the things you
Mhm.
need to be able to do for a musical is sing and dance. And there seem to be a lot of really good singers and dancers in the background.
Mhm.
And you're telling me not one of those people was good enough to give a couple of lines to?
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so those were my issues with it. I loved several aspects of it. I was a dispatcher. I worked at a cab company in my youth. My
Were
dad drove a
you?
cab. Yeah, it
No
was a
way.
yeah. So that part was there, and I spent some time in Washington Heights, Upper West Side, in New York,
Uh-huh.
and Queens, and everywhere. So there was a lot of parallels.
Mhm.
So I really it was touching in a lot of parts, and obviously I come from a musical theater background, and
Mhm.
like I said, I've been immersed. I used to go see Rent. I used to go see a lot of plays and musicals in New York when I was growing up. So
Did you see Daphne Rubin Vega in Rent as Mimi?
I believe I must have, because I used to
Oh
go
my
get
God. No, you did
I used
not.
I used to get the
She played Daniela in The Heights.
yeah, she was the I don't know if I'm almost 100% sure that I did, because I went to see Rent at least a half a dozen times.
Oh my God.
You could go pay $20 for the first two rows, the splash zone, and you would
Mhm.
have to get there. You'd have to go there in the morning,
You
and there was just
what? You had
yeah, there
Daphne spit on you? Oh my
it's,
God.
at some point.
Yo, I'm so jealous. This is
I've
great.
bathed since then, though, a couple of times.
Darn it. All right,
So I
fine.
love that part of it.
Mhm.
My other issue is that people were complaining without seeing it, which
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
always
yeah, yeah.
which you can trust the views of people that have seen. You can say, listen, I trust this person, and they said that's so I'm gonna save myself the trouble. I'm not gonna support it. I
Mhm.
still feel like if you want to be able to conversate and give your thoughts on it, that you're gonna
Mhm.
you're gonna give a smarter opinion. You might surprise yourself, because I saw it and I was like, how do I, right?
Mhm.
There's some part of that. How do you feel about kind of all the issues surrounding it?
Okay, so I'm gonna try to formulate this in in a good way.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of thoughts. Well, first, let's start with the positives. I am immediately biased because I was in the college spring play for at San Diego City College. So I was part of the ensemble, and it's a musical that has just a beautiful. It's just I love it. I love it. It has a place in my heart. So there's that bias. Um, Watching it, I hated and loved a lot of things because I know the musical. They made a lot of changes. For example, Camila, the mom, Nina's mom, was supposed to be alive, have her own song. Kevin was supposed to have a song as well, which kind of goes a little bit into his views and all of that stuff. And Benny and Nina, it's a black guy. Originally, it's a black guy with I believe she's Puerto Rican, a Puerto Rican girl, and the struggle of like what that those kind of relationships are within the community, and how colorism is an issue, and it's a pervasive issue, especially with like older Latinos. And then Kevin, the dad, does have like issues with Benny, and it's a beautiful storyline. The movie messed up in cutting it. Whether you want to talk about how it was time, like they needed to have a certain run time or whatever. Okay, it's still upsetting. I think we could still be upset of the fact that that was erased, which I did not enjoy. Now back to the Pride Month situation. Daniela and Carla were straight and just friends in the original play, and then they were gay for the movie.
Hmm.
I loved that shit. That like I have never. I'm not even. What are they? Panamanian, Dominican, Cuban, whatever.
Well, that was
Like
another line when she's like, "Oh, I'm this, I'm
she's
that." What do
a
you say?
Cuban.
I'm,
She's
I'm from
yeah,
Queens.
Dominican,
Yeah,
Cuban, Rican, all of them.
yeah.
Yeah, but them being gay, like people. This is the thing. I watched this movie with a gay man, right?
Mm.
And we watched it, and the first song, there's a 2 second scene where they're in the same bed, and you see Carla kiss Danny in the head. He missed it. He never knew they were a couple the whole movie.
Hmm.
And then me, I was like, "Did you see them being gay together? It was beautiful." And I was like
It was a
crying
throw. It
over
was
it.
like a throwaway, right? It was like
Oh my God.
they're
No,
showing
they
them
had a
this.
lot of PDA and a lot of moments, and you can see a lot of stuff. He just missed it, but it was I thought that that was a nice little change from the play. So give them credit where credit is due, right? They put some Latinas that are gay, bisexual, something, LGBT. Um but yeah, back to the colorism, they did erase that, and then it didn't help that the two main characters were very light skinned.
Mhm.
I also, like I said, I did some research on it because at first I feel like I love it so much that I felt attacked, right? So I was like, defensive. Ugh, no, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. What do you mean? But there was this beautiful, and everyone should watch this. There was an interview by The Ringer, which is a YouTube channel. I'm not entirely sure who the hosts are, but
It was
the hosts were
Lamar Lathan and
yeah. Did you see that one? So they had a Washington Heights local community leader kind of like talk about why it was problematic. And I loved what she had to say because I do feel like there's like everything people on the end of the spectrum, people that are like Rita Moreno's sadly being like, stop it, there's no issue, shut up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wait
cállense.
your turn.
Yeah, wait your turn. Yeah, which is like, Rita, okay. And then there's people on the other end who are like, not watching the movie, but talking shit about the fact that like, oh, in the whites, oh my god, like it was all white people. Like, yo, okay. So I really liked what this girl had to say, who's a community leader in Washington Heights, and she said a lot of things that you basically also mentioned, which is that if you go to Washington Heights, there are going to be predominantly Afro Latinos there. What upset them was the fact that they didn't feel represented, which is a terrible thing. Is if as a filmmaker, like you said, if you're doing so I had to look within myself. I'm like, if you make a movie about San Diego, and you do a movie about San Diego and you don't, put in, I don't know, Latinos and talk about TJ and like all of that stuff, and you just kind of like overshadow it, I'm gonna feel some type of way. So I think it's okay to criticize it and say that they missed the mark with the main characters. I think that a lot of other stuff didn't miss the mark. There's a lot of things you can criticize it over. The food apparently wasn't one of them. It's something that Puerto Ricans and Dominicans have been like, yo, that was perfect.
Right. Yeah, the food stuff. I think the dance numbers, like the inclusion
Dance
of the
numbers were
background was
amazing.
incredible. Yeah.
The editing was fucking amazing. The music was just
Yeah.
yeah. But they missed the mark on something that is probably one of the most important things, and that's the two main faces who were casted. Let's be
Yeah, and
honest, they
Jim
were
and
very light skinned.
Jimmy Spence and the girl who played Mina don't look
Nina.
anything alike. They don't look like father and daughter. So I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going full on spectrum in terms of
Hmm.
like, we're just going to put Latinos in these roles, then I think that you could have very easily added or changed one of the characters to be a more representative of the
Representative.
neighborhood that you're
Hmm.
talking about. Because then if they just get left only in the background, and then you tell people we brought black actors
But look,
in.
did you see the dancers? They
Did you
were
see them in the?
pretty
They were there in the
dark.
background,
Hmm.
and we felt that and I felt that I beat. I think as an actor, if you go out for a huge musical like this and you get the part, it is probably natural for you to be proud of it. But then
Yeah.
to say we had black people in the room
And they chose the best one,
and
the
they
one that
chose
was fit
the
for it.
best one and the best fit for the part, and the part is
Hmm.
somebody that's representing a neighborhood that's 70% black, and you could be white passing, because I
Hmm.
was literally like, Sophia could have played this role, because I mean, like, I don't see any
Yeah.
difference between, I mean, you can't sing for shit, but
I know. I
other
don't
than
got the
that,
pipes. Shit. Hey, but debatable. Can she though? Can she? No, I'm just
can't
kidding.
you know, does that
Can
make
she
a
though?
difference
Can
though?
she? Sorry,
No, I'm
sorry.
just kidding.
I'm getting
um
canceled before I get casted in anything. Come
no,
on.
no, 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 I'm
Mm.
not. Let's not shit on them. um I do feel my last sort of thing, and this is a tough one for me, because I feel like, it's like, what am I first, a Latino or a filmmaker, right?
Hmm.
Because as a filmmaker, I believe that anybody can bring an interesting point of view. Like, let's say, there's filmmakers that are American that have made films about Chinese and Japanese culture,
Hmm.
African American culture, that might have done a good job. They might not have been 100% right, but that have done a good job of showcasing it and not being
Hmm.
exploitative. But coming off of Crazy Rich Asians, the story is that the movie might not have gotten the budget, or might have not have gotten the green light from Manuel Miranda to make it, if he didn't bring uh, Chu on
Got
as the
you.
director.
Hmm.
But I feel like if I had directed that I would have been like, hold up, wait a minute. We need to, because, like, for example, there's no Colombians in the Heights. That's because Colombians don't normally live in Washington Heights. There's not a lot of
Hmm.
Mexicans in Washington Heights. There's Dominicans and
Mm.
Puerto Ricans.
Yep.
If you want Mexicans and Colombians, you go to Queens or New Jersey. There's
Hmm.
there's different pockets in New York where different, they're everywhere. Everybody's everywhere, but there's different pockets that have their own neighborhoods.
Mhm.
So I don't like I didn't watch the Heights and was like I saw the Colombian flag in one of the dance numbers, but I wasn't like, where's the Colombian character? Like I was like,
Yeah, same,
I understand it, you know?
same.
Like I'm sure
Yeah.
you weren't like, where's the Mexican character?
No.
Like
I was like,
like
it's not for me. It's Latinos as a whole. So.
yeah, but at the same time, like I've been in Washington Heights. I think I would have liked to have seen a Latina director get
Mhm.
the reins of it. And I think that along with you remove the self-effacing, like inward
Mhm.
looking storyline about the racism. So you're saying let's eliminate the story about Latinos being racist,
Yeah.
while at the same time casting
The whitest
a
people.
the whitest people
Yeah.
possible. And those two things combined with a non Latino or even a New
Director.
Yorker, not necessarily a Latino director, but a
Mhm.
New Yorker would have Spike Lee could have directed In the Heights. You know, he's a New Yorker. He
Mhm.
would have gotten, you know what I mean? Like those are the things where I'm like, but the flip side of that is Hollywood is a business. And even though Lin
Mhm.
Manuel Miranda is a superstar, he still has to give some concessions to get a movie done. You don't get every
Right.
single thing you want as a director. If they said you have to use this guy as the director because it's going to give us an added name to put on the poster and people are going to want to see him after Crazy Rich Asians,
Mhm.
and you can do this and you can do this songs, but let's cut the racism song out and let's cut this storyline out for runtime,
Racism. Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Um, right. That's kind of where I feel like it's a gray area,
Yeah.
and I think if people feel that the fact that they took those steps is enough for them to not even bother seeing the movie to get a real opinion
Mhm.
about it, and they trust what they are hearing, and they're like in the whites, and you know, and they're
Mhm.
calling the Manuel a racist, and they're trying to cancel Rita Moreno. I mean, I
Mhm.
think she's going to get a pass because she's an icon,
Yeah.
but at the same time, Colbert sort of set her up a little bit there. Like they try to give her
Yeah.
an out, and she sort of like doubled
She
down.
doubled down. I was like, ay, Dios mío.
She's like, no,
Uh,
and then they came up with like, oh, she was in her documentary. She said they used to put what is it, put makeup on me to make me look like I was the color of mud, and then
oh
people are
my
like, oh my
God.
god, Rita,
Like, you're not helping the message. You're not helping the cause right now, bro. You're
you're
proving
an
it.
icon. You're an
God,
icon.
don't ruin
Relax.
it. Yeah, yeah. I think I don't know about you, and I'll reverse this to you.
Go ahead.
But what do you think about like people that are actually boycotting? Because I I feel like my closing opinion and statement on this is yes, it was colorist as fuck to not to cast, white members. It wasn't the best. I would have rather the director also be Latino because the whole cast was Latino, right? And I didn't like the Benny and Nina thing being taken out. I feel like those are all fair critiques, and I agree with all of them. I also feel like we have moved forward within film and Latinos. Like this would not be happening. The fact that like they casted all Latinos from all parts, and like there
Cast.
were jobs, like like that's something that we haven't gotten. So like West Side Story, it was all white people and they put makeup on them. I feel like except Rita Moreno. But I feel like
They put makeup on her.
it's an incremental change, and we can love something and also criticize it simultaneously. But I also think that if you're going as far as to boycott and not even give it a chance or watch it or anything, then there's less of a chance that we're gonna get more of these made because people are not gonna want to greenlight something if it's gonna be overly problematic. So I think there's room for both. There's room for critique and, all of that. But if you're going to go a step farther and boycott, I feel like that for me that's a step too far just because I want to see more of these things being made with Latinos in front and behind the screen. I want jobs for us. I want all of that. So it just feels like a disservice. And then also to say that Lin-Manuel Miranda that he's racist and we're canceling him, like bro, he put black people in Hamilton to play freaking our founding fathers. So like I don't know. I just feel like it's a little too
It's not enough,
harsh.
Sophia. It's
I
not
know, right?
enough.
Apparently it's not. Yeah. I just feel like it's too harsh of a sentence. I'm not going to defend him like die hard like Rita Moreno did, right? Obviously, there's room for growth. But like I said earlier in the podcast, which there needs to be a road to redemption. And they know they fucked up and they know they fucked up. They got to own it and they got to fucking fix it in the future. And I just hope that people don't boycott this, and to the point where there's no more Latino films being made, at this scope. I want to see more Latino projects at this scope. Um, and then also, we just, on another note, we just also have to be better at supporting small Latino films as well. I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that gets made, and it doesn't get enough support. And people need to, unfortunately, it's a business, like you said, so it needs to be profitable for people to want to make more and invest in that. So I do understand the critique. I also agree with it, but I also I think that boycotting is a little too far. What do you think?
No, yeah, I think that in essence, okay. Here's what I thought. I follow a lot of reviewers and people
Hmm.
that write about it, and a lot of them are Latinas, Latinx people. That's good because there's more. We need more people behind the
Hmm.
scenes reviewing films. Because even if you make a bunch of Latino films and a bunch of white people are reviewing them,
Reviewing it, yeah.
that's not the thing.
It's me,
But
yeah.
and I think that a lot of them had the take that this movie was 100% good, 100% good, incredible.
Hmm.
People are gonna love it when they see it. I can't. It's so awesome. So I'm 0% wrong. These people began to retcon their takes and add the yes, but we still need to have the conversation about. So in essence, I feel like it made me sad a little bit to have all the internal fighting between Latinos, right?
Yeah, it hurts. I don't like. Yeah.
Because it was like, all right, we got something to be happy about, we got something to promote, and then
And
it's
we're
like,
fighting.
and we're eating each other alive. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, exactly.
But the other part is, we've had literally a half dozen shows over the last 5 years that represent Latino culture, like One Day at a Time, Vida.
Count them on one hand, I feel
You
like.
can count
Yeah.
them on one hand, right?
Hmm.
That are really about Latino families and issues and stuff like that. So it's good that we're getting to have this fight on a bigger forum, in essence, in a way. But it still did hit me as like sad that two parts that a lot of people talking about the film didn't realize that their take was a bit ignorant until the
Hmm.
backlash. So I feel that there's a lot of Latinos that were ready to just get behind this 100%. This
Hmm.
is good for the culture. This is good. There's nothing wrong with this movie. This movie is perfect. We need to support it. We need to do that. And then as soon as they heard the backlash from the Afro Latino part of our community, they
Hmm.
were like, they had to decide. Am I
Hmm.
sticking to this 100% or am I going to adjust my take to be a little bit more inclusive and to not get shit on
Hmm.
for not recognizing the conversation. I didn't have a take on it until I watched it, and by the time I watched it, because I got interviewed for something on KPBS
Hmm.
about it, I sort of came up with my take, which is I wish it would have had a Latino director. These are the things that I thought were wrong. I want to celebrate it, but I also think that it's okay for people to feel that it wasn't left out. I
Hmm.
do think that it's just hard. It's hard to tell people support it even if you're not happy about it because it is a step forward for the culture. Because I feel when you
Hmm.
say that to people, you are sort of erasing their experience,
Hmm.
right? It's like I said, if we were making a show about Mexicans in San Diego, but we just left out a large percentage of Mexicans that lived in TJ that are part of this culture and this community, you would say, well, why didn't they showcase them? They're a huge part of San Diego. The border is a huge part of the San Diego experience. The people that lived on both sides, that went to school one side and lived on the other, there's still people that do that today.
Hmm.
So it's hard for people to be able to say it um to say that without making me feel like if you say to somebody just support it. Just like Rita Moreno said, just it's not the time right now to
Hmm.
it's not the time right now to boycott it. Give it some time. Let it have the opening weekend. Let it have a big opening,
And then we
right?
can talk about it. Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of us feel that way and are still sort of well-meaning enough to think, but we still it's still not 100% right. But when you tell people that I feel that you are sort of stepping on their personal experience and you're not recognizing that if you felt like there was a movie coming out about Washington Heights where you grew up and you grew up with 70%, Afro Latino, most people are dark skinned and Afro Latinos, and then you don't see one person with that's full. I mean, yes, some of the actresses were Afro Latinos, and then we're like, well, is she not dark enough? And
Sasha Polaka, like she is Dominican. Yeah.
no, it's literally she wasn't dark enough, right?
Hmm.
So that's why I think that we need the Zoe Saldana line, which is if you're going to represent Afro Latinos, you need to have a few actors in there that are darker than Zoe Saldana.
She's the
Which
line. I'm fucking dead. I'm fucking dead.
we could call it the
The
Rosario
Zoe,
Dawson line
yeah, the
as
Rosario
well.
Dawson
Yeah,
line.
I like
Yeah,
the Zoe Saldana Rosario Saldana
yeah.
line. It's like lighter.
Hmm.
That's kind of like and I'm making a joke, but it's
Hmm.
it's a weird topic for Latinos right now because
Yeah.
something that in theory was supposed to promote the culture, open the
Unite.
door for,
Yeah.
what it really is, it just opened up a bunch of old wounds.
Yeah. A lot of different conversations.
It opened up a lot of old wounds
Hmm.
about like internal fighting and colorism and racism and
Hmm.
stuff inside the culture. But
Yeah. Uh,
what can you do?
Yeah, I know. See, what we have right here, I like this discourse though, because what we have right here is we have an East Coast man, right? Your perspective is going to be a lot more personalized than mine. That's why I'm backing down. Like I'm like, listen, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm just coming at it from a Mexican American point of view, and I loved the film because it represented first generation Latinos. It was very just like, oh, it got me in the feels. It doesn't even have Mexicans in it, okay? But
Right.
but so it's not for
They
me.
had
I'm
they
aware.
had one flag in there.
It had one flag in there for one song and it was amazing. But I just the Latino representation is something that I enjoy, and I am a Hufflepuff, you guys. I just want everyone to get along and hug each other, and it pisses me off that like we can't get along at the moment. But at the same time, um, if someone were to do something on San Diego and they got it wrong, would I want to not watch the film? Would I probably be a lot more angry than I am at In the Heights? Probably, and you're justified. And I feel like everyone in the Heights is justified to do so. So when I mean I don't think it's right to boycott the film, is I don't think it's beneficial for the community as a whole. And I would like that to not be the case. However, people that are angry, um, it's understandable. And
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
Uh,
Like
yeah.
it's understandable, and you have your own right to not watch the film as well.
You can't tell
So
somebody just watch it, force it. The
yeah,
people have the right
no.
to not watch it for whatever reason they want.
Yeah. I think do I feel hurt over the people that haven't even watched it that are just like kind of jumping on a bandwagon? Sure. Can we be nitpicky about it? No, because everyone has their own experiences. So it's like I just wish we could all get along. We
I
probably
want.
can't because it's a deep, deep wound.
I
And
equated to. I equated a little bit to the Sia movie that came out where I've been learning a lot about autism over the last 2 years, and
yeah.
Sia put out a movie about autism, and as soon as the trailer came out,
Hmm.
the autism community shit all
Shit
over it.
right. Yeah.
They were like, "This is not representative." They didn't have an autistic actress to play the part. They're talking about restraints and all these other things, and they're making her look like stereotypical blah 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 blah. So,
Hmm.
and as a filmmaker and somebody just starting to learn about filmmaking about autism, I was like, I want to watch the movie before I form an opinion. Right, I
Hmm.
want to watch the movie to form an opinion, even though there was a whole learned autistic culture on Twitter and other social media that were saying this sucks, this is wrong. We're already mad about it, and she was
Hmm.
like, I studied. There's 15 different people on the spectrum in the movie. We tried to da 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 da. The
Hmm.
actress that played the part was uncomfortable with some of the things they wanted her to do and portray in the movie. Some of the movements that made her seem like blah blah
Hmm.
blah. And they came afterward that Sia was like, no, just do it like that. Go to extreme, blah blah blah. We're okay.
Hmm.
Um, and at that time, my take was, as a filmmaker, as long as you do your research or you're open to things that you don't know about, at the end of the day,
Hmm.
it's your film and you have the right to make it. It's your art. Like you said, once you put it out there, it's no longer
Yeah.
yours. It's to the world. But you have the right to put out whatever you want. If it says written and directed by Lou Martinez, it's my art. It's my decision. And
Mhm.
and the way I've been thinking about things over the last couple of years is if I write a part for a what do you say, like a minority or a underrepresented part of society,
Mhm.
if I at least feel that I'm reaching out and bringing them into the casting process,
Mhm.
even if I don't necessarily pick somebody with that disability or from that community, that I thought I did my job. What I've learned recently is that having a goal of representation is different from having a directive.
Mhm.
So you can say, I'm making a movie about the Heights, and I feel like I'm doing a good job of representing the area because I brought black people into the audition room, right? Or I feel like I've done my part because I have
Yeah.
autism people on the spectrum,
Oh
is
my
different
god.
from
Her career is
saying,
over, isn't it? Okay.
right, no,
That
but
was
it's
bad.
different from saying, so that's a goal, right? That's like I have a goal of being open to putting people from those groups in my film.
Mhm.
That's different from a directive, which is to say, I'm making a film about Washington Heights. I have a directive that I am going to make sure that the cast of this film is representative of the culture. I'm not making it my goal to find somebody. I will find somebody for this
Mhm.
role, right? And I think that whereas before the previous thought process I thought was enough for me to feel like I was doing enough,
Mhm.
I think recently I think it's not enough. And I think that that saying to yourself, I will find somebody for this role that's representative of that culture
Mhm.
is what you need to do now.
Yeah.
Now, you can still ignore that and make the movie you want. The same way you don't have to be, if you want to be qualifying for the Oscars, you don't have to have representation if you don't want. But
Mhm.
but I think in that case, I feel that it's that there's a difference between feeling like, oh, I brought him into the casting process. I met with a black person. I met with this. I blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like it's not enough anymore. If you really have to make a choice that says I will find somebody for
Mhm.
this part. That's it. Anyway,
Yeah.
I watched the Sia movie and everybody was right. It was horrible. It was the
Okay.
most like
Mhm.
cliche representation of an autistic person.
Mhm.
It was, and I understood after seeing it that these people who were part of the community were right to be mad
Mhm.
about it and the way that it was done. So, the same way I was super masochistic and a sexist growing up in my life, and you guys all know,
Yeah, look at you change.
yeah,
Look at you
yeah,
grow.
yeah. I think that I had to have several conversations with myself about my life, about how I feel about certain stuff, and then
Mhm.
to thine own self be true. That's what people say, right? So
Yeah.
you have to have those uncomfortable conversations with yourself, and I feel
Yeah.
that these are happening more and more. So even though the controversy's there, and we might not have gotten the opening for the film that we wanted, I still think it probably got a shit ton of views on HBO, and I think that the people that greenlight, we're still 28% of the movie going audience, even though we're only like 14% of the population or something like that. I don't know what
Mhm.
the numbers are exactly. So I still think that the people that are going to greenlight future projects are going to get the real numbers from HBO, and they're going to see
Mhm.
that there is enough of an audience, regardless of the controversy, to hopefully
Mhm.
open more. And then the other question is this: if the entire cast of In the Heights had been Afro Latino, would it have had the same support of the lighter skin Latin
Community.
community? If all four of the major roles were just Afro Latino, full, you know, because they are, dark Puerto Rican, dark Dominican, light Dominican,
Mhm.
medium brown Dominican. So if that entire cast had been black, do you
Yeah.
think that nothing else changes?
Just the 4,
Right?
the main 4.
Just the main four are
Mhm.
all maybe three out of the four. They're throwing us, they're
Throw in a
throwing us, they're
little
throwing
light
us a
sprinkle
token.
vanilla right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. They're talking to
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
Uznavi Platano character.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the same, but everybody else is completely black. By the way, the Uznavi joke is like 30 years old, but because I remember hearing that about a girl in Colombia like years and years ago that was called
Yeah.
Uznavi. But if that's different, and the cast is 75. The main cast is 75% Afro Latino. Do you feel that it gets the same support that it's gotten from the, I guess not white passing, but brown part of the Latinx community?
I think um yes, but I think the backlash it would have seen would have been different in the sense that they probably would have scapegoated it, any complaints in the sense of, well, the cast doesn't look like the original cast on Broadway because they were a lot more light skinned, and kind of like the Little Mermaid thing, right? Like, I mean, a lot of people are saying, hey, she doesn't look like it's okay that she's black, it's okay, but she doesn't look like the Little Mermaid that I know.
She's a
So
fish.
I do think that yes, we would have, everyone would have supported, but I think the conversation would have been flipped because everybody likes to be mad about something nowadays. So I think it would
Mhm.
have been like, oh, they don't look, and that's the way colorism is very deep seated, right? So I feel like it would have came out in that sense of like, oh, but they don't look like the original cast because the original cast was very, for the most part, light skin. I mean, Karen Olivo's character, her Vanessa was, she's darker, but other than that, it was a very fair skinned cast.
Mm.
So I'm also wondering why no one, when, well, at least that I know of, didn't tell Lynn at that time. I feel like they should have slapped him over the head with this colorist situation too, because it's been going on for a while, and it's
Yeah,
always been problematic, you know.
the casting and the
Hmm.
director, like I said, I think a director from New York or a
Yeah,
Latino director would have probably, like, I would have been in that room and I would have like, yeah, we
a
need
reality
a
check.
we need a little bit more
Hmm.
color. We don't,
Yeah,
you know, we
and
don't
that
we,
was another part of the
too
Ringer
many vanilla
interview.
beaners.
Too many. I know, right? Another that was part of the Ringer interview as well, where she was a community outreach member, and she mentioned she's like, nobody reached out to the community to ask for help, to ask for our opinion,
Mm.
and that's a big no-no. That goes back to what you said um about actually like intentionally. What was the word you mentioned? I don't want to butcher it.
Oh, performative allyship, or
No,
what are
no,
you
no.
talking about?
Well, after that, the representation part where there's two kinds.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I understand what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah,
not
because I
reaching out to the community is a big
Yeah,
no
yeah,
no.
I feel like he would have avoided a lot of stuff if he would have done his homework and reached out to actually Washington Heights, right? And the community there. It would have been very glaring that you should not be casting
Take a
light-skinned people.
walk in Washington Heights. Just walk
Yeah.
around Washington
And there
Heights.
are videos of him taking a walk, but it does look a little performative in retrospect if you're going to go ahead and cast different people. And then it's like who's to blame exactly? I mean, we can get into the nitty-gritty too. I'm like, is John Chu to blame because he kind of pleaded ignorance in that
Mhm.
he tried, he failed.
Yeah, he played it
Um
ignorance. The cast was like, "I was the best. I
Defensive.
deserve my part." Was
Yeah,
defensive,
yeah. It's like,
and Lin
girl, you can
Manuel was
deserve your
like,
part, but also understand that like it wasn't representative of the heights. And people
"Yeah,
can be mad at that. Like, Um yeah, so it's yeah, colorism sucks. I don't know.
and on and on that note, no, I mean, people should still see it. Decide for
Yeah.
yourself. I think,
Oh, I still love it. I love it.
even if you don't
So,
pay, watch it on HBO. Still give it
mhm.
those views. Those views are going to be important. How many people
Yeah.
stream it is going to be important.
And
Um,
yeah.
and I think the good part of this backlash in this conversation is the more and more it happens, at least you know that there will be a conversation in the studios the next time a film about, I
Mhm.
mean, listen, me and you could complain we could do 8 podcasts about the representation of Colombians and Mexicans in films.
Mhm.
From being maids to drug dealers to
Mhm.
90% of the stories told about our cultures are about
Oh yeah.
narco. 90% of the Colombian stories are about Pablo Escobar. The other 10% are telenovelas.
Yeah.
So
The
so
spicy Latina trope. Yeah, yeah.
so I mean, we could talk for a long time about that, but we have to be honest with ourselves about the history of racism, and then a lot of this, and this is something, if you guys want to get into a deeper dive on it,
Mhm.
watch the podcast that I did with Julian from the Naciona 2 podcasts back. It was episode 47, I think.
Mhm.
But we really just talked a lot about the ingrained colonialism and
Yeah.
how it's been just through hundreds of years of colonialism. We have been taught that
Yeah.
the lighter your skin, the more you're worth.
It's deep
And
seated, man.
it started with, if you were born in Spain, you were worth more than if you were born in South America, and then it
Yeah.
turned into this and that, and this has been going on forever. Just because we are somehow in a woke 2021 doesn't mean that all these deep rooted, like
This goes
embedded
away.
into our DNA issues
Mm-hmm.
are not still there. So
No.
the more conversations, the more people I talk to, I'm obviously, because I've talked to mostly other Latinos that look like me about it. I do want to reach out, and I have reached out to some people from the Afro Latino community to talk about it as well. So hopefully I'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to keep having that conversation. But I also like to also tell a lot of dick jokes. So it's a I also don't want to just become too serious. There's a lot of people that are having this important conversation. I like
Yeah.
to talk about it, but I also like to have a little fun. So
Yeah.
so hopefully. All right, we're gonna I have like one or two more topics with you that we want to talk about, and then we'll do a fun bracket bit. But we are gonna take a quick 30-second break here because I need to use the bathroom for 2 seconds. So we will be right back.
Again, sir.
We'll be back. So we'll be back in 30 seconds with Sophia, and we'll wrap us up. We'll do a bracket bit. We'll have a little bit more fun on Fireside Chats. Back in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Let me put the clock on let you all hear.
And we're back.
Hello.
Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito live on a Monday. How are you feeling about? Well, let me make sure everybody here. Thank you, everybody that's tuned in and commented so far. Make sure that you guys are following us on Facebook.com/2mburrito, Twitch.tv/2mburrito, YouTube.com/2mburrito. We can see Sophia's stuff. And throw shout outs to a couple of the organizations that I support. As always, Community Through Hope here in San Diego and Chula Vista for people that need help. Also, hook them up if you want to donate socks, food, anything else for people that might be in need of residence. We don't call them homeless anymore. I guess it's those without homes. Arts for a Better Tomorrow is an organization in San Diego and in Tijuana that deals with the trauma of life through the arts. Jose Yenke, collaborator, the voiceover in Ladron, runs artsbt.org. And they are in San Diego, Tijuana, and Los Angeles, helping out young kids deal with trauma through the arts. And if you need a dog, don't buy a dog, adopt a dog. We savethepuppy.org. Again, taking dogs off the streets and finding homes for them. A lot of Chihuahuas, a lot of smaller dogs. Look at you with your dogs.
Picked you up on the street, didn't I?
Shy goes back over there.
She's shy.
Excuse me. And the Naciona.com, the pod I did recently, Julian, the Naciona.com, they do a lot of good work in the community. They also are looking for stories from people from marginalized community of all types. They have poetry contests, writing contests for stories. So go check that out. Whew. That being said, today in the middle of Pride a pro football player for the Los Angeles Raiders
Mhm.
uh, very casually put out a video saying, "Hey, check it out. I was going to say this at some point anyway, but I'm gay." And and everybody was like, "Yeah, of course you play for the Raiders."
Oh my god. Wow. We just had a deep conversation about colorism. You're over here being homophobic.
I'm sorry. It was too easy. It was too easy a joke not to make. I mean, but I'm
Yeah.
not even a I'm
Who
not even
cares
a
about
San
the
Diego
Raiders? Who
but
cares about the Raiders? Mhm.
there's been there was another a player that did that, but he was like a marginally like not talented enough player a few years ago who came out, but then he got
So
cut
mean.
because no, I mean there's a difference between being technically a football player as somebody that gets on a practice squad or that's part of the roster. And there's another thing to be a starting defensive end for the Los Angeles Raiders or a defensive tackle for the Los Angeles Raiders.
Yeah.
Um, and
They fire him. That says a lot.
and and yeah, somebody that's making 5, 10, $15 million a year and say, hey, check it out. I'm gay.
Yeah.
So so it is a monumental sort of moment in terms of pro sports
Yeah.
because mostly these players come out at the end of their careers or they come out after they've been retired for a couple of
Mhm.
years. I mean, he
He's
had
at the height.
he had six sacks 2 years ago for the Buccaneers. He had 2.5 sacks last year for the Raiders. He's a productive NFL lineman. Played at Penn State. So I
Mhm.
think that he's not necessarily a superstar, but he's a functioning NFL player. So I
Mhm.
guess that just goes to like normalization or just making people more comfortable. And like he basically said, like I'm not trying to make a big deal of it. I hope that coming out statements aren't something that needs to happen in the future.
Yeah.
But just from your perspective, how does that make you feel that somebody in a major sport is just casually just dropping that?
I love it. Oh, well, yeah. I think part of me was a little because I live in such a liberal bubble sometimes I get like jarred at like news like that like oh people are still like coming out and it's like a statement situation. But yeah, yeah, it's the reality that we live in, and especially when it comes to male driven major league sports, like it's fucking rare and it's monumental, and I think that it's brave, and we need more people like that, and we need to normalize all of that, like just by the simple fact that he's a gay man in a locker room and no one cares, and no one, I mean, let's hope that there's no backlash, right? But
Mhm.
assuming that his teammates don't care, and I'm assuming that like a lot of people are standing behind him, it says a lot and it moves. What, did he give
I'm sorry.
negative backlash?
No, no,
Oh
no,
no,
I'm sorry.
yikes. But you're terrible. You're terrible.
I'm
What is
sorry.
up with you tonight?
I'm sorry. It was like I had to overcompensate from the deep important
You did.
conversation. I had to be like silly at the end. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You meant people standing behind him as teammates trying to prop him up
I
for
did. I didn't even think
yes,
about it.
yeah.
I'm so freaking innocent. Wow.
I'm
With
sorry.
his tight end. I'm sorry. What?
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
No, it is a good.
It's
It's
good.
definitely a good
It
thing.
moves the cause forward. So yay. I think it's cool. I like it. I wish I knew football so I could be more excited about this. You know
Almost
what I
makes
mean?
you want to be a Raider fan.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I might just
Not just.
switch.
hmm and then the last thing I wanted to just touch base on you is, I think that we've gotten a little spoiled. Obviously, you and I mean,
Hmm.
you and I were both Bernie supporters,
Yeah.
and basically what we already knew was going to happen. They picked the two worst people to run on the Democratic ticket, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Yay.
And we already knew that they weren't necessarily going to be super progressive or,
Uh-huh.
super thing. I think that they've gotten enough push from the left and from progressives that they've sort of made incremental movements here and there.
Hmm.
But they talked a big game about immigration. They said first 100 days, path to citizenship, blah, blah, blah. And
Hmm.
they basically just followed same Obama era politics in terms of still deporting people, her telling people do not come, and them saying specifically that they want a bipartisanship way forward for immigration reform, which means it's not going to happen.
No.
It's not going to happen, because if you're not going to push it through with a simple majority and you want to wait till you have a 60 supermajority, it's not ever going to happen, right? It's just going to be more of the same. There's no final act on the dreamers. There's no people for the other, millions of people living in the shadows. There's none of that going. And we basically knew this was going to happen. We also knew that Joe Biden, as a fact, was not Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It was the one thing that we knew, was that Joe Biden was not Donald Trump, and that was enough for the DNC. That was enough just to get Trump out. They put their entire platform on just the fact that they wanted to get Trump out of office, and they did, which took a lot of stuff off our back. I think he did a great job with the vaccine rollout. He's done a couple of things just reestablishing the U.S. In the view of the world, and you don't have to constantly feel like, because for the 4 years previous to that, they just felt like we were always just on the verge of something horrible happening, with things happening. But how has your first 6 months in a post-Trump president world felt? Have you sort of put politics to the side a little bit, and sort of, how do you feel about like what the Biden Harris team has done so far?
Well, I unfortunately I've put politics a little bit to the side. I think it's mainly due to my schooling, though. It got really stressful this quarter. But I mean, yeah, I'm not too happy about it. I don't like that video on immigration. Kamala, come on. That was not great. There's a lot of stuff that's going on with schools. Supposedly there's going to be some relief there, but then you read the relief and it's only private loans from schools that basically scammed people. And that is it. And there's no sense for, there's no looking forward to that. So, and then the immigration thing, there's basically the same thing. It's Obama-esque. And then you see the getting people, bringing our troops back. And then you read into it and you realize, oh, he's just flip-flopping the way that everyone does. And it's depressing and it's annoying, because all of these things, yes, I'm not worried about Trump, right? Like constantly, like the media backlash that he constantly got is like gone and beautiful and yay. But also it's in a way making me realize how, because I do listen to a lot of middle of the road people, and it's making me realize how some of the stuff that Trump did sometimes was middle of the road, the same, really near what Biden is doing and near what Obama did. And it's just the media sort of, explains it away differently. But at the same time, you can't discredit the fact that they are actually, kind of giving publicity to some of the issues that I feel the most passionate about, right? So it's a weird give and take, and I don't like it. I feel like everything is half-assed. I don't like the way he handled Israel and Palestine. I don't like the way that he's handling really anything. I feel like it's all very half-assed. And it's nice to not have the headache of Trump, but yeah, I'm definitely feeling a little fatigued in the fact that there doesn't seem to be any change currently to the country. So that's annoying. Any substantial change.
Like, I mean, it's been said a million times, but Republicans will fight tooth and nail and pull dirty tricks and use whatever they have to their advantage while they're in power to try to get their agenda across. And then Democrats get into power and they're like,
nope.
Kumbaya.
Yeah, we need to.
Hey, we really want to do this. Let's vote on it. And Republicans are like, nope.
I'm like,
And they're
okay.
like, oh, okay.
Bummer.
Right. But immigration, we could do it with reconciliation, and we could do it with our majority. And
okay.
but we want to do it by partisan. Would you guys want to join us? No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we tried.
I guess we tried.
Yeah.
But we're not Trump. We're better. You guys like that, right? Yeah, you like that?
I'd like healthcare more. That'd be nice.
Jared Kushner and Stephen Miller out of the White House. That's good, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Hunter Biden. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
You know, like
Nepotism.
it's like, yeah, we got a grandpa, we got a fucking boomer, and remember, like me and you said this before, like
Hmm.
Joe Biden didn't change his mind about gay and lesbian issues until like
He absolutely had to.
2000s,
Hmm.
till he absolutely had to.
Yep.
Bernie was a gay pride parade in Vermont, 1989.
Yeah.
Fucking out, like boom. Bernie was fucking marching with Martin Luther King, or he was in the, like,
Yeah.
and then progressives are like, yeah, too communist for me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, he's a
Uh,
communist. I'm like, Bernie was president right now, we'd have healthcare, we'd
yeah.
have immigration, we'd have so
We
much
had
shit right now.
student loan relief. We would
Student
have free
loans, debt,
healthcare. The
debt
troops would
cancellation,
have all been back.
troops are home.
100%. None of this like
We
fucking
would
like,
have
oh, 800 are still
we
there.
would have
Well,
been getting like 2 grand a month for the whole
stopped
year.
all funds to Israel. Um,
Two grand a month in pandemic
yeah, we're
relief
gonna
over last
UBI
year.
because
Yeah, oh my god.
universal basic income. So many pretty things.
But do you think is it ever going to change, or is this basically? I mean, the more this happens and you realize both wings of the bird are the same bird, it's kind of like, it
Hmm.
doesn't fucking matter. Like, other than some
Hmm.
more flibs and this and that. I
Yeah,
mean, how much
yeah,
different
yeah.
would things be? I don't feel like it's that much different country, other than the fact that we feel like there's an adult at the wheel, and that it's a little bit easier to live your life not worried about stuff continuously.
Hmm.
It's like,
There's not
right,
much being done. Yeah, yeah. So I think that it's possible. I never want to lose hope. Once you lose hope, you lose. Like that's it. There's no change that's going to
right.
be done.
You can't
So
fight the youth.
let's. Yeah, exactly. Like so, I think that we are slowly moving there. I do think that healthcare is gonna get there. Hopefully in my lifetime. I'll probably be 70 though, but hopefully in my lifetime.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Just in
I
time for
just
me to upload my personality to the cloud,
exactly.
so I can live forever.
Oh yeah. No, like this country's so behind on a lot of ways, and I feel like um once you get nice things, it is hard to put that back, into whatever that saying is. I am tired, but you know what I mean.
And Pandora back in the box.
There you
Right.
go. That's a good one. Yeah, because we essentially the argument for free healthcare has always been well, where are we going to get the money? Where do we get the money? Where's the money? And then
Right.
all of a sudden a pandemic happens and we all of a sudden have money to give um, you know, a little bit to the people, but like yeah, the corporations took trillions anyway. That aside, money is not an issue. It's statistically, it actually shows that it would freaking like help our economy to have free healthcare in the long run.
Absolutely.
So I do think that once more and more people join the cause, it could change. And then we also need people, representatives like Bernie, um,
Right.
you know, in the House and in the Senate and everywhere. I think it's possible. I just think that it's not in Biden's time. We'll
Do you
see.
think AOC will ever be president?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, if
She's not
there's
very
one person
popular.
that is, if
She's not
there's
very
one
popular
more,
with the right, and you need to be like,
I know, but is she like the next? I mean, she's gonna take the Hillary mantle, right? Like basically, like the
I'm
anger that,
nervous.
right,
Yeah.
the anger that the right feels against Hillary will be redirected. It's almost, in some areas it already is directed at AOC, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, the minute that she called Nancy Pelosi mama bear, that's when I got scared because I'm like, right now you're very liberal. Right now you're very much on our side. But there's a little bit of things that are telling me that you are fine voting either way. And I can see her being president, but I can see her doing it in a time when maybe she's not for the cause anymore. I'm
Mm,
nervous. I'm very nervous for
mm.
her because I want her to succeed and I want her to always continue to be this
Okay.
beautiful, awesome figure, right? But
We're
I'm
gonna
nervous that she's
Bidenize
gonna get bought
AOC.
out. Yeah, I'm nervous that she's gonna get Bidenized. Please don't, AOC. Please don't. But
Stick
we'll
to.
see. A lot of
Does
stuff she's in the middle ground for, and I'm like, why did you vote no? You could have voted yes. I'm one of those people that like get a little crazy, and I go to like the little like how they voted.org, and I
oh
see like, oh, how did you vote? Oh, interesting, you voted no on that. That's interesting. Okay, and then I write little
right.
mental checks. And she's good for the most part. I mean, I'm vetting her and she's doing great, but I do get nervous that she's a little more, you know, amicable, I guess. And I
All
just
right.
don't want her to sell out. That's all. That is all.
You get staff, you get a reoccurring role in a Hulu show or something, right? 3 or 4
Oh,
seasons.
fun. That'd be great.
You get
Not
some.
with not with the amount
You,
of opinions that I'm spewing out here. I will never
uh,
get a role.
well, let's just give me this hypothetical here. So you get
Mhm.
uh, and then you get maybe a couple of indie movies, a little recognition here. They're not like a major career, but just like a little bit of recognition, a little D-list action,
Alright.
right?
Mhm.
Um, and you get a little name recognition. You're getting interviewed. People are like, "Oh, she's got some smart opinions. She's educated." Blah blah.
Mhm.
Would you consider a career in politics?
Oh man, that's hard.
Let's say you're living in LA,
Yeah.
you're working actress,
Mhm.
but you're not like super working all the time. Like you, you,
Mhm.
you got some credits, you got a little money saved up, and they're like, Sophia, you talked about the blah blah. We heard your speech at Pride 2 weeks ago, and we need somebody to
Mhm.
run for Congress, or like state Congress, state Senate, something like small, like school
Mhm.
board president, something like I don't know. But I mean, like not necessarily like president, but I'm saying like because politics used to be the way it was written is that you'd want different people from your community to take their term as an elected official. It was never
Mhm.
supposed to be a career where it's like, hey, I'm going to be a politician because they make good money. It was I'm going to do my role and be a politician because I want to represent
Mhm.
my district, etc. Like that. But that being said, do you think that you would ever consider something like that?
Mm, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't think about that. Consider as I'm doing the local ballot for the Chula Vista, um, mayoral and all of that. I do look and I'm like, okay, I can do it. My mom was very embedded in politics. I have friends in politics. Like, I like it. I enjoy it. It's a good hobby of mine. So, and I also have been very much like confronted with the fact that I could be doing more for the community. Um, so I'd be lying if I said that I didn't think about it. Because I am that person that people go to within my scope, within my nitty, like my close knit group of people. They're just like, "How are you voting?" Because I didn't do any research, and I know you do. Um, so I would consider it. I also know that, like, God, a lot of shit would come out. So,
Right.
yikes, a lot of digging, been a lot of parties, people. Listen, listen. I went to college in
No,
more ways than one.
luckily for me, all my most of my embarrassing shit
Was
happened pre
pre-technology.
cell phone era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
was not. So I'm like,
Mm.
shit. What if like no, no, God, just character
Pre-cell
assassination to the
phone and
max.
pre-security camera era was when most of my because
Yeah, yeah, and then I would have to grapple with the fact of like, would I be una descarada, in the Trump s like, yeah, I got drunk that one time, so what?
right,
Ugh, I don't know. So
right.
that's the thing that I consider that I'm like, I don't know if I want to put up with all that stress. This seems like a lot of stress, you
It
know?
does. It does.
Yeah.
I think I'd make a great president though, because I don't know, I'm just kidding. Because I'm a narcissist, and
Because
that's
you're a
what
narcissist? Okay,
because that's
cool.
what because
Yeah.
that's how that goes. Um, no, honestly,
Yeah.
I'm learning. One of the things that I love most about doing this the over the last year is kind of that the ignorant question segments, because I've learned so much from my guests that I feel like that's like my favorite part of it is that I ask questions genuinely that I don't know about. Like
Mhm.
I was talking to um this girl from the Film Posers podcast. She's in because they're a group of Puerto Rican film critics. They're
Aw.
super young kids, and they're like super into film, and they call themselves the Film Posers, which I thought was super awesome. And and the bracket bit was because we were talking about the mayor of Easttown. So the bracket bit was famous mayors or presidents in movies,
Mhm.
and at the end to decide which one she would pick, she was like, "Well, I want to see which one would do better for Puerto Rico," and I was like, "Oh yeah, because that's what the Democrats should do. They should give Washington statehood and Puerto Rico statehood, and then they add for Democratic votes and stuff like that. And then she was like, no,
Mhm.
no, whoa, 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 whoa. She like stopped me in my tracks, and she's like, no, 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 no. And then and I thought the narrative that I heard was that most people wanted statehood for Puerto Rico
Mhm.
because of the
I
fact
thought so too.
that they could add additional votes, Democrats, and then they could do. But like the majority of people in Puerto Rico do not want statehood. They feel like they are, and the United States doesn't want them because in Puerto Rico people mostly still speak Spanish. They haven't really
Mhm.
adapted to American ways. They're really just waiting for liberation, to have their independence.
Yeah.
So she sat there and she's like, "Oh, we can get back to." I was like, "No, just please tell me," because she told me
Educate me.
she told me a shitload of stuff about it, and I was like, okay. I was like trying to say like, well, the narrative here is this, and she's like, yeah, but that's not what's happening on the ground and not with the young
Mhm.
people. So I was like, okay, I'm learning. So it is good to learn
That's
and
awesome.
and specifically about, I used to think I knew a lot about politics and shit like that, but it turns out sometimes we don't know shit.
No,
Yeah.
there's always a
Yeah.
lot you can
There's a
freaking
lot, yeah,
learn.
yeah. Like when I talked to Julian and learned about colonialism and Simon Bolivar and all this other stuff, and
Oh, fuck Simon
and that's
Bolivar.
one thing, as you can tell from my background and my shirts.
Yeah.
I am a consumer. Uh,
Yeah.
Shout out to the Clink Room. See my little bunny?
Oh my god, yeah. Pero
Yeah,
no le entiendo. What is it?
it's like a killer bunny.
Bugs Bunny?
It's like a were bunny.
Okay.
That brings us to one of the segments we do once in a while here, and it is,
Bracket beat.
should I buy this hat?
Should I buy this up? You're so
Sophia,
dumb. I was excited for the bracket bit, damn it.
should I buy this hat?
Ay, Dios mío. No, no. Did you not grow at all? We just got done talking about how you're grown listening to all these voices, these
Well, I
diverse.
said I had to do the segment. Okay, anyway, I just
Should
wanted to
I
give
buy
a
this
shout out.
hat? It
I
is a
just wanted to
great.
give a shout out to this company called the Clink Room. They do custom. They do sort of original design. I love fitted hats,
Mm-hmm.
but I usually wear a Mets or a Knicks hat.
Your big ass
But
head.
they do make really cool fitted hats that they do, like they have people submit designs and then people
Mm-hmm.
vote on the designs, and then you can buy them. But the thing is, you buy a hat now and you get it in October, so it's like pre hooking up your wardrobe for later on, and it's a pain in the ass to
Ooh.
have to wait for it. But like if that was a Pitbull, I would buy that hat, right?
Yeah, I think Pitbull's with yeah, ask Shy.
Yeah, yeah. This one's pretty. Like and then there's pretty cool stuff and stuff like that. I've bought some really good ones,
No,
like the one I
Apple.
have. Yeah, so it's like cool stuff. And I had reached out to them because I was like, I am looking for sponsors for the podcast, but I didn't really want money. I just wanted to be able to promote brands and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I just
Ooh,
wanted to
we
give them a
got
shout out.
sponsors. Oh my
No,
god.
no, no. We don't have a sponsor, but
Ah, damn it.
I did want to give them a shout out on the pod because I have finally received the hats that I ordered, and that was kind of a fake one. But I did want to do another segment.
Yeah.
Nah,
Ah,
this is gonna be fucked up if it's not bracket bit.
I would just exit the room now. It's like, oh, we're done, right?
Sophia,
Okay, bye. God.
it's a little something I like to call.
All right, boys and girls, you know what that sound means. It's time for bracket bit. Bracket bit. Bracket bit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Bracket bit. Bracket bit. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Fireside chats.
That is
never-
right.
It
What?
never gets old. Bracket beat. Bracket
Bracket
beat.
bit. Whoa,
Fireside
whoa. That was
chats.
one take.
Oh my goodness, yes, sir. I
Just
believe
like that time. That's like that time on the Bicycle Thief.
Ladrón,
Or-
yeah. Oh
when I
yeah,
was
you
talking-
told everyone, yeah.
Well, I was
One
talking-
take.
Anybody count how many?
Anybody?
takes-
How many take?
Just- But I tell people
Like
that was a
cállenlo.
that was a specific move because we could have shot your guys' scene first or my scene first. And I was like, I'm gonna shoot my scene first. I'm gonna be a fucking asshole. They're all gonna be mad at me, and then they're
Mhm.
gonna fucking kick ass. And what happened? As soon as we shot the other scene, you guys all shot your scene.
Everyone, it was like in one take.
Everybody
Yeah.
did it in one take,
Yeah.
and it was fucking awesome. You
They're
got the
like,
Sofia.
oh, if he can do it, we can
Yeah,
all
like,
do
oh,
it.
they're like, oh, fucking,
This idiot did
fucking,
it. Come on.
fucking Lou with his fucking
Lou.
acting. Anyway, Sofia Carrillo,
Yes.
we have done 4-hour podcasts together. You are my co-host.
We have.
You and Kenny are my official co-host for the Two Ham Burrito
I
podcast.
love Kenny.
Ty Mabry, if he ever wants, he was my original podcast partner, and you have been on the podcast we've done a bunch of things, but then I realized you have never been subjected to the bracket bit.
Lies.
You have never had your own personal bracket bit, so
True.
we're gonna do one today in order of Prime
So
Month.
gay.
It's about to get super gay.
So gay. Y'all be ready. Let's get gay.
This is the Pride Throwdown.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you what I searched for was gay icons as
Okay.
well as bisexual.
Oh my
Icons.
God, Stephanie Beatriz is about to win this whole thing. Okay, go for it.
Hold on a second.
Wow, you didn't even put her on there. Did you put Daphne Rubin Vega and Stephanie Beatriz? We just got talking about In the Heights and how they
No,
chose-
but
they're actually bisexual in real life. So it actually meant a lot to me that Daniela and Carla were gay together, and it was two actually bisexual women in real life playing them. Like, to me, I was like, representation for moi, thank you.
no, I had Stephanie Beatriz because from Rosa from Brooklyn.
99,
but
yeah.
I didn't realize they were
99.
both 99. All right, so what I've done is I put a bisexual icon versus a gay icon in a bracket bit to the death.
Wow, you found that many bisexuals?
Yes, I did. Well, it's most bisexual representation. I did my digging. I did this half hour before we started the pod. So,
Yeah.
but let's get into it. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's
It's
go.
time to it's time to bracket bit. All right. In our first round matchup, we have Angelina Jolie.
Gosh. Uh-huh.
And
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, who has
Wait,
been,
Dolly Parton is what? She's bi? She's gay.
No, well,
What?
in the gay icon category, we have a lot of people that were
Or straight. Oh yeah, that's for
that
the
are
gay
straight,
boys. Okay, yeah.
but that are not only that, but that also were early pioneers in like promoting gay
Yeah, like
rights and stuff
Madonna.
like that, like Madonna
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So this is
Yeah, we love them.
so it's gonna be a mix, right? But Dolly Parton is
Mhm.
more of an ally. It's basically allies.
She's an ally. She did do a lot. Like, it's debatable too, because it's like, who did more?
Right. So you can.
But,
So again,
mhm.
you've seen the show. I create the bracket for Maximum Pain, but whatever your reasoning is, you can do it. You can see which one would you rather have lunch with tomorrow, which one you think has done more for the LGBT community, or which one you like personally the most, which one you'd like to
Okay.
be in a movie with, whatever
Like,
it is you
marry
want to
Angelina
do.
Jolie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So
Lots of
you
sex
can
with her. Uh-huh.
you can yeah, well, yeah. That's like a universal truth. I think there's everybody on planet Earth would love to
Yeah.
bang it out with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
but,
Oh, come on. Come on.
All right. But anyway,
Right.
round one, Angelina Jolie, Dolly
Yeah.
Parton.
It's Angelina Jolie.
All right. Elizabeth Taylor,
Cynthia Nixon.
Cynthia Nixon.
She's actually gay. She's bi, yeah. We
Yeah,
love her.
Cynthia Nixon.
I think I'm gonna go with actually the like I love my allies, but I think I'm gonna go with anyone who's LGBT first. So Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury versus Les Minnelli. All right, we're getting rid of the other.
Mhm.
Princess Diana or Billy Porter.
Billy Porter.
All right. RuPaul or Demi Lovato.
Oh, that's messed up. That's so messed up. It's like drag. Or do I go with who I want to bang a little?
It seems like your criteria is changing from pick to pick, which is fine. I will allow it. It is within the rules.
Thank you. I have a love for Demi because she's my age, and I feel like we've come out together.
Right.
So seeing her in Disney, I'm more attached to Demi. I think RuPaul. I should choose RuPaul though, if I'm being a good gay. All right, fine. Let's go with RuPaul.
What do you mean that you fill it out however you want? You're going with RuPaul.
Yeah, I'll go with RuPaul. Yeah.
All right. Sir Ian McKellen.
Evan Rachel Wood.
Evan Rachel Wood.
God, I love her.
Tessa Thompson. Kylie.
Wait, where does Tessa fit here? Is she actually bi in real life?
Tessa's bi, yes.
I thought she was straight. I mean, I know she was in the music video with what's her face, but Janelle Monáe would have been a better one.
Yeah, Tessa Thompson is right here, I believe.
But see, that's Janelle Monáe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I think Tessa. No. Okay. Whoever's against her, I love her. I have a crush on her. But Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue. All right, Lady Gaga or
Mhm.
Alia Shekhet from
You have to go Gaga. Come on, Queen Gaga.
David Bowie or Laverne Cox.
Laverne Cox.
The Great White Duke is out.
I know. I'm
Good
sorry.
White Duke.
I'm a young person. Orange is the New Black really affected me.
Judy Garland or Dolores Del Rio, which is, excuse me, Dolores Del Rio was,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
a Mexican American or Latina.
Was she Mexican? I think. Yeah. I'll say
Yeah.
Dolores.
Dolores. Let me
Yeah.
make sure that I know what I'm talking about here. As you see my list that I found this on.
With hours of research. Yes.
Hours of research. I
Yeah.
Googled gay and lesbian icons and then I looked at the list and I put the ones that I knew and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can.
Like I
But,
said, Janelle Monáe would have been a better one than Tessa Thompson.
Well,
That
then
would've
you
been
said
hard.
Stephanie Beatriz, so I just wrote over.
Who did you write over?
Yeah, her.
You wrote over Tessa Thompson? You wrote over
No,
who?
no, over the one you
Janelle
said that I did.
Monáe?
Janelle Monáe.
She's like a bisexual icon, especially last year when her single came out. And I was like, "It's just the way you make."
I don't
feel.
listen to music.
Oh,
All right.
yeah. Well, I'm
Well-
half gay, so
All right. So Dolores Del Rio moves on.
yeah. Let's
All
go
right.
Dolores.
Ellen DeGeneres or Oscar Wilde?
Oh, that is difficult for moi. Oh, that is hard. Oh my god. I've recently learned a lot about Oscar Wilde, so I kind of appreciate him a lot. Oh, Ellen. Yeah.
Ellen. Anna
Yeah.
Paquin or Barbara Streisand?
That's hard. Everyone's going to disagree with me, but I am biased for bisexuals, you guys, because they helped me come out. True Blood, Anna Paquin, that helped a lot. So Anna Paquin.
Yeah. Well, these are bisexuals versus gay icons. So yes.
Yeah, it's
they
very
are.
hard.
All right. All right. We get a musical. Frank Ocean
Or Madonna.
or Madonna?
Oof, that is difficult. I love what Frank Ocean did. But I have to go Madonna. Gotta go Madonna.
You're going Madonna. All right.
Yeah.
Dusty
All women
Springfield
too, huh?
or Harvey Milk?
Harvey.
All right, Okay. What was
Stephanie
what was the other girl that you told me
Janelle Monáe.
Okay.
No, you can't do that to me. Why do you put Janelle against like anyone else? You're
no,
terrible.
because this is where they were. I'm getting rid of Cher. Cher is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the two that I mixed in. Whichever one I would have put there, you would have passed them over Cher either way.
I would
So
have.
it's-
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So since they were both going to share that spot, then they're up against each other.
Man, they've both done a lot for bisexual community, like an equal amount, one for music and one for acting. So it's very difficult, this one. But I gotta go with my Latina, Stephanie Beatriz, man.
All right, good, because I have the other one spelled incorrectly. All right,
Yeah, you
Elton
do.
John.
It's with an A and E. Yeah.
Yeah. I had it right before, but then you're like
Yeah.
Stephanie Beatriz, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot Stephanie.
You're like,
Beatriz.
how?
Yeah, I
I
did.
hate you. Okay.
All right, Elton John or Billie Holiday?
Probably Elton.
Elton. All right, got it. All right. Your rationale has changed. Now you have to live with your decisions. In the next round, we have Angelina versus Cynthia Nixon.
Oh, Angelina, come on.
Freddie
Really hard.
Mercury or Billy Porter.
Freddie. Love me some Queen.
RuPaul or Evan Rachel Wood.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. I have to go Evan Rachel Wood because I have to. Yeah, I'm sticking to who I'm choosing. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
tough.
Here's, Kylie or
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga. It's Gaga. Easy.
All right. Laverne Cox or Dolores Del Rio. An OG or a Laverne Cox?
Or a new G.
Or a new G. OG or a new G.
Well, whoever goes is gonna beat the next person because I see two white women in the other one. So this one's very difficult. I'm gonna go with Dolores for this one.
Dolores. All right.
Yeah.
Ellen DeGeneres or Anna Paquin?
Anna Paquin.
Madonna or Harvey Milk?
Madonna.
She was married to the guy who played Harvey Milk in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
Stephanie Beatriz or Elton John.
Beatrice.
All right. Or now she gets to take on Madonna.
Stephanie Beatrice.
Dolores or
Hello.
Anna Paquin.
Mm. Mm. Oh sheesh.
I mean, you might think
So
of one of the Niken or, but this is about which one's more
personally,
important to
right?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, because Dolores is icon, of course, but Anna Paquin, like True Blood, really like I was in high school, so it had to
Mm.
do a lot with like me figuring out my sexuality. So
It's
Anna
your
Paquin.
break. Anna Paquin.
Let's go with
All right.
Anna. Yeah.
All right. Evan Rachel Wood or Lady Gaga.
Oh, Lady Gaga, come on.
And Freddie Mercury or Angelina Jolie.
Oh, that is not fair.
Uh,
That's not fair. That
it's
is not
getting
fair. I love you, Freddie, but I'm gonna go Angie.
it's getting real gay in here.
I'm real gay.
All right.
Fuck.
That's a nice Final Four right there.
That's a good Final Four. I'm happy about that.
Right. Angelina or Gaga.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. Oh my god, this is terrible. I think I have to go with Gaga just because of representation. Because Jolie was special to me, but as as far as like communal change, Gaga did a lot. So let's go with Gaga.
Do you think that if she had had like an open relationship with a woman, that would change your perception of her? I
She
mean, because
did. She had a yeah. She had an
oh,
open
was that
relationship with a woman.
was that when she like first started, or was that like between Brad Pitt or like?
It was around the Billy Bob Thornton time, so before him.
Mm.
So she was already well known and established, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm bi and I'm wild and all this stuff." And like, I just feel like the representation that she did, even though it was meaningful and it was very meaningful to me because I was like, "Oh, what bisexuality?" It came at a time where like people weren't necessarily ready, whereas Gaga was later on, and she, I don't know, she just was very outspoken about it. So
I mean, I think that right. I mean, Born This Way is that that's the gay Freebird, right?
yeah,
That's the
it's hard. Yeah, and I'm not saying Angelina Jolie didn't do much because not only did
no.
Angelina Jolie change perspective on bisexuality, I feel like she did so in just sexuality as a whole. I
Mm.
remember the Inside the Actor Studio interview where she just talks very openly about being a very sexual human being, even when she was young. And I just remember feeling like, oh my God, I feel so seen. This is great. It's amazing. Because, one thing is talking about your sexuality, and another thing is just like, I don't know, just letting your freak flag fly, and I feel like she did that. Lady Gaga, she kind of like hugged the community as a whole, though. So like, I'll just give it for that extra step, that zhush. I'll say Gaga.
Mm. I was thinking
Mhm.
maybe I should have done a gay anthem bracket bit.
Ooh,
Or
that would have been because that would have been hard with like all the musicians.
yeah, like Born This
Oof.
Way versus like YMCA.
I'm coming out by. Ah. No, and then oh my God, and then RuPaul has a lot of music too. And then
Right.
oh
Yeah, that would have
shit,
been
I would have
that would have
gone
been a lot.
hard.
That would have been a lot more research. I would have had to go down the whole gay anthem rabbit hole.
I have a playlist if you want to look at it. It's my Let's Have a Kiki playlist.
Oh, is it? Yeah. All right.
Scissor Sisters. It's great. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
The
Gaga.
question remains: Gaga ahead of Jolie. All right. Gaga
Gaga.
makes it to. All right, and then Anna Paquin or
Stephanie
Stephanie.
Beatriz.
All right, she's Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
She's
They
Rosa.
even and the fact that they added that as part of her storyline, again, more representation.
Yeah.
And the way they did it,
Awesome.
title of your sex tape is Greater Than. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Definitely. Everybody knows that.
It's not right.
Lady Gaga, not. Is she bi, or has she said anything about her?
She's yeah, she's I think she's openly bisexual. Madonna-esque in also the sexuality thing that I said with Angelina Jolie. I feel like Madonna, Gaga, and Jolie did a lot for like just sexuality as a whole. I'm gonna be very selfish and say Stephanie Beatriz because we have a Latina that's bisexual, and that just gets me, man. It just gets me. Like that was the first time Brooklyn Nine-Nine was the first time that I just saw somebody say like, "Oh, I'm bi." Well, no, actually, it's like Sarah Ramirez in Grey's Anatomy. They just did it. They just did it a little less casual. It was very dramatic. It was very, but they did it. So Sarah Ramirez would have been a good one too. I feel like they would have.
Is
Yeah.
that what was the
Callie?
what was the biggest omission from the bracket in your opinion?
Omission? Ooh.
One
Well,
like
Janelle Monáe, the fact that
Janelle
you put
Monáe.
her
No,
on later,
she was in. She was there. She was
she
definitely
was
part of
there.
the. She was supposed to
Yeah,
be there.
yeah.
Like, cause I wasn't 100% sure if Stephanie Beatriz was also bi or if it was just her character in Brooklyn. I was
No,
just
she's
making sure.
actually so she's very open, and actually with the whole In the Heights thing that's happening, she's pregnant right now and she has a male partner. So there's a whole conversation that's opening up about how like she's super representative in the community, but she's bisexual and she's married to a man and she's having a baby and stuff like that. And she I appreciate the fact that because you could choose not to be vocal, right? You could choose to be like, I'm with a man now and I'm just gonna chill. And I like the fact that she's always continued to represent and yeah. I don't know. I enjoy that. I feel like the gray area of like what a lot. Oh, you okay? You okay, girl? Sorry, my dog was choking. My dog was choking.
Baxter made an appearance back here.
Yeah. I have Cookie and Cora over here. Cookie was having a rough time.
Mm.
Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, gray area. You know how we talked about bisexuality and how it's a little problematic sometimes that we're in the middle and you could choose to be straight and stuff like that. So I just like that she's kind of pushing on the gray area and choosing to still be herself and not
Mhm.
erase that part because bi erasure is super prevalent. So I respect her a lot. Mm.
Hey,
What was the question?
well, no, it was you. How was your bracket experience?
I liked it. It was very gay, so I liked it. Can we do this even when it's not Pride Month? Can we just do a daily gay?
You just do a new podcast.
Like, here's a new gay one.
Gay bracket bit.
Yes, yes. You could have definitely actually that song one I'm gonna be tripping about because I have a gay ass playlist and like
Mhm.
it would be really hard. Yeah.
Well, you give me give me a top 32. I'll throw them on a bracket, and then we'll next time I have a relevant guest on, we'll throw it up there, and we'll
All
see
right.
how it goes. And we'll do
We'll
it.
do
It'll
it.
be a Sophia. If there's one other person that I will allow to create a bracket, it might be you.
Yay.
It might be you in this universe where I
I
let
take
you.
everything way too seriously, so it would be very good.
How do you feel about being in a stadium with like 40,000 people tomorrow?
Yo, I'm so excited. Are you kidding me? I can't wait. Are you kidding me? Wait, did
I
we
don't.
win? I actually have to check the scores because right now they're playing, but like, did we win?
Well, I'm gonna be going as a Mets fan, but I'll be rooting for the Padres tomorrow since I'll be there, since it is my hometown team.
Yeah, exactly.
But so you can catch me in Sofia tomorrow at Petco.
Yeah, rooting for the Padres.
But other than that, I appreciate your candor in the questions. I feel like I interviewed you for a little bit, got your
Yeah,
takes on stuff. We had a good conversation. You know, I don't know. I
you
think
did.
I treated you more as a guest than as a co-host. I think this pod.
Yeah, I think because it's Pride Month, and so you were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you're a gay. Hello, questions." No, I do like
Better know a gay.
Yeah, I have a gay friend here.
Yeah, I need my cred.
Yeah, you need your street cred right here. You're like, damn you, you have to be light skinned though. Like, we were doing the
No,
In the Heights
I'm not
thing.
clicking off
Arr,
enough boxes.
man. Yeah, intersectionality, you're not enough.
No, I
Yeah,
think
no.
I was like, hey, why the fuck not? Wouldn't we have you on just to have a conversation about it? Just so you can speak on it.
This is like our genuine hangouts though. Like, I love the fact that this is genuinely how we talk. It's just like, yo, what do you think about this though? And
It's
like,
like
well,
a structured hangout.
structure. Yeah, because usually we go on tangents, and this is there's a reason why we had a 4-hour podcast one day.
This is supposed to be a short one, and it's going to be 2 hours.
Fuck, and it's 2 hours. I said 1 hour.
That's what I said too, and then all of a sudden we kept talking,
And then we ranted.
Anyway, thank you for everybody that watched. Hopefully, people enjoy this.
Anyone is still here, thank you for making
Anyway,
it through.
people listen, people watch, people. We're getting about 150.
Mhm.
About 150 downloads a week on just from the podcast, and that doesn't include 300 to 500 views usually per episode on Facebook, and then most episodes end up between 1,200 and 1,800.
I listen on Spotify still.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we get about
person.
between 12 and 1,800 total between both platforms, and then the ones that get super popular are like at 5,000. So trust me, we have a subdued audience, and they love us.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
listening, for watching. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Anyway, I will see you tomorrow at some point.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And we'll get to the game. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Happy
Lou and
Pride
Sophia,
Month.
happy Pride Month. Keep it gay.
Yeah.
Peace out.